Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another bi-monthly Complain About Genshin Impact video, where I choose a really obscure topic that nobody's talking about, and just complain that Genshin isn't doing it correctly. Now today I want to look at Genshin Impact's competition, or quote-unquote competition if you will. We all know Genshin's a great game, but it's not perfect, and just to outline 5 little topics, and I'll leave these all on the screen, Genshin Impact's got a pretty okay story, solid 7 to 8 out of 10 story, Dainsleif and the Archons is cool and interesting, and the whole Khanriya is cool, but we get the story so inconsistently that you forget the previous quest by the time the next one comes out. The gameplay is a solid 7 out of 10, you've got a lot of variety with 5 different weapons and many characters, but the actual gameplay is super simple except for the 1%, but you never build to the 1%. The world, 8.5 out of 10 at most I would ever give it. It's a big open world, and by the time that the last zone of Snezhnaya / Celestia comes out, it's going to be a massive one, but right now, as of Inazuma and the Chasm, the world pretty much looks identical to each other. It's just kind of like a green overlay on top of the map. Kind of boring, kind of bland, no different variety in color palette. The endgame, near non-existent. 4 out of 10 at most. You got a 2-week Spiral Abyss reset with no endless grind anywhere and no PvP. And the Gacha and Generosity system is like a 5 at most, probably many below. 60 primos per day is absolutely nothing compared to most games that give 1 roll per day. There's zero certainty in the game. You can't guarantee a single thing in this game, which is, well, zero certainty creates anger. Any amount of certainty gives hope. Now with those outlined, I'll leave them on the screen, and I just want to talk about what games have to do to potentially beat Genshin Impact. Now I'll quickly elaborate. I don't think Genshin Impact's ever going to die or be beaten fundamentally, and I'll explain that a bit more in detail at the end of the video, but I just want to elaborate now that I don't think Genshin Impact will actually ever fully die. But what does the game have to do to get close to beating Genshin Impact? Well, I'll keep it straight, I'll keep it simple. It really just has to nail the endgame and the gameplay. That is the simplest answer. The gameplay has to feel fluid. People have to like playing the game. If you don't like playing the game, people aren't gonna play the game. It's that simple, right? So having fluid combat, easy combat, but also expansive enough to add creativity so the player can play their own way or play in different ways every single time they play the game. Now Genshin does great gameplay, but it is super simple. There's no expansiveness to it in my eyes, unless you are the 1% people like Tony Toe who do like fire ticks and metronome counting and like application rates. That's obviously the 1%, but in my eyes you never build a game to the 1%. And they also have to nail the end game. The end game is a massive criteria for a lot of players. People want something to do once they finish it, because a lot of players, myself included, we finish the game extremely quickly, hitting the highest adventure rank in Genshin Impact, which is essentially 55. It is actually 60. 55 is the last time you receive anything of importance. And after you hit 55 and you are able to farm Spiral Abyss, you're done with the game. You could actually quit and you'd be fine. If you weren't too invested in the story, you could quit after clearing Spiral Abyss easily, and you'd be like, I had achieved something, because the game has nothing else to offer in the endgame. Now, as a solution, anything that is infinite, anything that scales infinitely, or any type of PvP solves this issue. Really, on a fundamental level, it does. It instantly boosts the endgame from a 4 to like a 7. 7 is like kind of like a pretty good baseline number to have as a score. And anything endless, anything endlessly scaling, and any PvP would fix that. Now, can Genshin do that? No. Whatever. Now, an added bonus for games to nail as well is the Gacha / Generosity. Now, Genshin's a unique case in this, in that it doesn't do it great. Genshin is not a very generous game, and that's a fact. You get 60 primos per day for doing your dailies. And now I've played a fair few Gacha games in the past few months, and almost every single one, if not every single one, gives you 1 singular roll per day of doing your daily activities. If you just do all of them and fill up that classic activity bar from 0 to 100, that last reward will be 1 singular roll. Now, it baffles me to this day why Genshin doesn't give you a singular roll. It does baffle me. I don't exactly know why. They could very easily do that, and it wouldn't harm them in a single way, but whatever. But that's an instant thing that a game can do to provide players with a bit more fulfillment, I guess. And also the removal of a lot of uncertainty, or just the addition of a lot of certainty at least. Being able to know that you're about to go towards getting something is a pretty big thing. Now, just to pull an example, in Genshin, you can't guarantee yourself a single thing. There is no area in the game that you can get something and know that you're going to get it. You can't farm an artifact and know that you're going to get a viridescent piece. You know, you could spend 30 condensed resin and only get Maiden's Beloved. It is a thing that can happen. If games can have a gearing system and have a way to guarantee certain pieces, and I'll pull from, let's say, Raid Shadow Legends, where you can farm the attack percent set and farm specifically, let's say, the boots or the chest piece, you can do that. Now, what you are RNGing and gachaing for is the rarity of the piece, the star rating of the piece, and the actual stats on the piece. But you are one thing certain is the actual piece itself. And that gives hope, that gives fulfillment, because you feel like you're progressing to some degree because you're always going to get this one piece. And if a game can nail that, that's phenomenal. That's an instant boost in want to play because, oh, I'm going to progress towards something. That's amazing. I love that. Sign me up right now. I'm putting my signature right here. Boom, I'm in. As for world and story, the game doesn't have to nail those things. Because I'm going to be honest, a large percentage of a game's player base doesn't invest too heavily in a story. They invest, to a moderate degree of understanding what's being said, but they're not going to deep dive into the game and try to understand the lore on a fundamental level and why everything's happening, who's everyone, where's everyone, and why's everyone. Generally speaking, players are just going to understand the story on a surface level and then move on. So you can lack a bit in that area and not a lot of players are going to care. And the same thing goes for the world, because most of the time in an open world, unless obviously it's a game that does a lot of revisiting, in an open world you got to play through it once and you got to move on. So once you experience a certain part of the open world, you got to be like, okay, cool, I like that, then you're going to move on. And especially if the end game is really good, you're not going to be revisiting the open world much. Now, I never advise games to ever have a bad open world. I think open worlds are really cool, but it's an area of these 5 criterias that I'm willing, that could be lacking if these other areas are good, and I'd still play the game. Now, at the start, I did say that Genshin will never die, and that is true. It will never die, unless certain things happen. Now, the reason I don't think it will ever die is because it's too ingrained in a lot of people's minds now. It's much like World of Warcraft in a sense, where it is a creator. It has created this new system of open world gacha character collection. It was a creator, it was an original. And WoW didn't die until recently, where certain things happened, allegations, criminal activity, that's the reason why World of Warcraft fell off a lot. And unless that happens to Genshin, which I don't hope it happens, but unless that happens, Genshin will not die. It's too ingrained in a lot of people's minds as their favorite game, and it is a great game, high quality, high money, high production value actually. It's just too good of a game overall for people to stop playing it. But can it have competition? Absolutely. Competition inspires better games. No game has gotten better by being the only one in its category, and that's a fact. So I encourage game devs and hope that game devs start creating Genshin Impact copies so that Genshin Impact can see that these other competitors are doing something maybe slightly better than they are, and Genshin adopts certain things and creates certain things, and even other games get to the same level as Genshin, and so people can play multiple of these games if they so choose. But that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys did enjoy, and, share your thoughts down in the comments if you think Genshin's gonna, drop off. Do you think it's gonna be the best game for all of eternity? Do you want other games to rise? Do you like any other current games? Did I miss something? Did I say something incorrect? Do correct me if I did. But for now, thanks guys so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.